Hello there. Today I want to cover around 7 processes that you need to consider when carrying out your due diligence process. And these would actually apply across board various aspects of due diligence. And some of the aspects that you carry out due diligence on is maybe when you're buying a piece of land, you're buying an apartment, or you basically want to make an investment where you need to put some money for it to grow. And in this case, the real estate. And the first level is to basically, number one is to basically define the objective. And basically here what I mean is to identify or outline what is that you want to carry out due diligence on. And for example, an objective here would be to carry out a land search at the lands office, maybe to carry out a due diligence and buy some maps from Survey of Kenya. So you need to define the objective of that process so that at least from the onset, it is clear what you are carrying out as you proceed to the next level. Number two, once the objective is clear, and let's say, for example, let's use doing a land search at lands office. Once the objective is clear, of course, number two is to gather relevant documentation that you require to be able to do that land search. Basically, gather documentation and information. And the basic information that you gather in this case is getting a copy of title from the landowner, buying a map from Survey of Kenya, and basically maybe requesting for the IDs and PIN certificate. Those are basic documentation that you gather before you go to do a land search at the land office. Then the other aspect, as number three, that you would consider in the process of carrying out due diligence is basically verifying the facts with the relevant authorities. Okay, if it's the piece of title that you've gotten from the person selling the piece of land, you can do a basic visit to the chief's office in that neighborhood to make sure that you just ask what do they know about that piece of land that is being sold. Even as you walk to the land registry, there are various places that you can actually walk in. If you're buying an apartment, you can actually walk to your local sub-county's office to make sure that the buildings have been approved. So basically, number one, number two, number three is to make sure that you verify facts from relevant authorities. Then what I actually call the epitome of the process, of course not the last one, which is number four, is carrying out a site visit. Site visit is very critical because this helps you in physical evaluation of what you're buying. Is it a piece of land? Is it an apartment? So when you go to the piece of land, you basically establish the location, you establish the amenities that are within the neighborhood, you establish accessibility, and even other aspects in terms of how slopey is it, the kind of soils, all those manner of things you're able to establish during a site visit. And I encourage my clients and encourage everybody out there who want to buy a property, make sure you visit. And if you're not able to visit, delegate. Get your friend, get a lawyer, get a surveyor. There are people you can actually appoint to act on your behalf in that process of doing a site visit. Then the fifth one is basically to assess the risks and the opportunities, because in any venture that you're getting into, they are both risks and opportunity. If it is this land that you are buying, what are the risks that may be around it? Maybe when you carried out a site visit, there are things you observed. Those could be risks. When you visited the site visit, there are some opportunities that you observed that would impact how this investment would behave. So basically assess risks and opportunities as you buy that piece of land or that apartment. Then once all these things on the table, now carry out the due diligence process. Okay, due diligence process is critical. It being a critical process of verifying what you're buying or investigating what you're buying. So due diligence basically walking out to the lands office, in this case doing a land search, walk out to the lands office through your surveyor, through your lawyer, and they're able to do that land search for you. Then once the land search is out, I would still ask you to go further in something I call root of title, being able to dig deeper in terms of how has this land moved hands over time? How has the subdivision been done over time? Okay, from all the way from the block map, the subsequent subdivisions, how was that process done? And these are things we're able to dig from Lands Office, from Survey of Kenya. So actually go further and do what we call root of title. And even this, you can actually do it further through even online search by checking through the land registry number. Just Google and check whether there is any pending issue on that piece of land. Maybe there could be a court case. Those things are able to pop up from that search. Then finally, in that process of due diligence, is to now make an informed decision, because why you are doing all these things is to make a decision to either acquire, to either lease, or invest in what you are doing. So karibu sana to my channel. Take a minute, do like it, do subscribe, so that we're able to make more information, to share more information, and even more, make more videos that will be beneficial to the general public in terms of matters investment, buying that piece of land, and even lease, making a lease out there. So karibu sana, and take time to watch more of my videos. Thank you.